Okay, listen. I have some extra time today, so I'm going to go ahead and knock this out right now. Don't expect me to get drug into another debate on this, because frankly, at this point, I am sick of it. We've been over this on more than one occasion. I promised you I would address you publicly on YouTube if you wanted it. If you would like to draw public interest, and you think that I can help draw public interest to your cause, fantastic. Now, to begin with, I am by no means in favor of circumcision becoming a mandatory procedure, because I do believe that, just as the medical profession believes, it is the choice of the patient that must take precedence. Now, a lot of you are sitting there saying, yes, but what you're not listening to, you fat sack of shit, is that infants don't get a choice in the procedure. Okay, here's the thing. When you're a minor, you don't get a say in things legally. Your parents, they are the ones who can give legal permission for things. You know what else they can do? They can waive your Fifth Amendment rights. They can say, listen, boy, you tell that officer what you know. And you know what happens then? You're not allowed to remain silent. They can make you testify against yourself. This is how it works, okay? Now, doctors are required to get permission to perform medical procedures, and this is especially true in the areas of elective surgery. They have to get informed consent. Now, no one's saying that if a doctor fucks up a circumcision, they shouldn't be able to be held accountable for medical malpractice. What I'm saying here is, you don't go after the doctors because you don't like the fact that a procedure is legal. That's like, look, whether you are in favor of abortion or not, or to what degree you are, that's not what I'm here to get into. But if you are against it in any sense more than what our society allows, you don't go after the fucking doctors who perform abortions. You go to Congress. You try to get legislation changed. And if you try to go to court about this, even if you can successfully get something done in the courtroom, which I have been informed that apparently somewhere along the lines a man has successfully sued based on being circumcised. I would like to know what the facts behind this are, because if it was a procedure done with consent, and it was done appropriately with no mistakes, then it is fucking ridiculous that a court out there somewhere decided that that doctor should be held accountable for doing a procedure that is accepted by the medical community. If you don't think that circumcision is correct, you make arguments, you gather data, and you go to Congress, and you try to get laws changed. Now, even if you want to go with this suggested, natural default, however you want to define that, fine. But you get that set up as a legal thing. You do not want courts to be the ones making medical decisions. Doctors should be the ones making medical decisions. Once you start making it that people who have had their parents give informed consent for operations, that later that child can grow up, hate the way that that operation was performed, and sue the doctor because I didn't consent to that operation, you're going to kill pediatrics as a medicine, because much as you said, the idea is to make circumcision a liability, you're going to make all pediatric care a liability. I'm not going to operate on a child if, a kid comes in and I need to amputate a leg because of an accident they've been in. But hell, I better not do it, because they might grow up and sue me for taking off their leg after their parents, give me permission to do it. Because they come in and say, well, maybe I would have been just fine if they didn't take off my leg. And they come into the courtroom and find a doctor somewhere that will say that everything would have worked out hunky-dory if they didn't go ahead and do the necessary medical procedure and take your leg off. Listen, the bottom line is this. Babies are more likely to develop urinary tract infections in their first year of life. And now listen, you're probably thinking, oh, a urinary tract infection, not really a big deal. Give them some fucking antibiotics. It'll all work out. No. Here's the thing. During that time, these infections, when they do occur, are usually severe enough that they require major surgery. Major surgery. And, this is key, the risk of that surgery is significantly higher. We're talking like, if you have to go through that surgery, even if everything works out in every way the way the doctors would have wanted it to, you might still end up with a permanently disfigured penis. Now, I think that it should be up to the parents to decide which way to go on that. If they want to take the risk, that's fine. If they don't want to take the risk, that's also fine. I understand that it sucks to have your parents have made some decision for you that screws up something for the rest of your life. But this is not like stabbing someone's eyes out in their basement. This is the most asinine... I know you didn't say that in your most recent video, but this is the comparison you make. That it is like stabbing someone's eyes out in your basement. It is not like that at all. Your parents make all kinds of decisions for you when they're raising you. And a lot of them are going to have horrifying repercussions. You know, it's how it is. Your parents make choices. There's no parenting school. Some of them turn out good, some of them not so much. But much as they have to live with the consequences of what they did to you, you have to live with those consequences as well. So, if you're looking for someone to try to pin some blame on because you're pissed off, sue your parents. Say, hey, why did you make it so that I have slightly less feeling in my penis at the expense of, instead, I didn't get a urinary tract infection, and also it's much more hygienically sound much later in life. There are numerous advantages to circumcision. Now, what I'm going to do when I have a child, I'm not sure yet. I'm leaning towards not having him circumcised, but you know what? How do you think my son, if I go with that choice, is going to feel if he is one of those people who does develop a urinary tract infection, and it is severe enough that he is left in a situation where he can never have sex. Never, ever have sex. Which way do you think is the right way to go? How do you think I will feel as a parent if I could have saved him that life by getting him circumcised? It's a trade-off, much as most things in life are a trade-off. This is not sexual assault. This is not child abuse. This is making a decision. You don't go after abortion doctors because abortion is legal. You don't go after doctors who do circumcisions because circumcisions are legal. Now, if you want to try to change things through medical boards, that's one thing. If you want to try to change things through legislation, that's another thing. But the fact of the matter is, Congress is going to be very hesitant to take away a parent's right to reasonably raise their child and make decisions about how to raise their child. And also, because the potential benefits seriously outweigh the drawbacks to a circumcision, I doubt you will ever, or at least until such time as we have much better surgical techniques to cure urinary tract infections when they require surgery. Until such time as we have that kind of surgical precision, I don't think you're going to find many doctors who would like to see the practice banned either. But you are more than welcome to use those avenues. I'm just saying that the way to go is not to make it so that we can't take our kids to the doctor anymore because they have to think about whether or not someday that kid is going to grow up and not like what you did to them. There are risks. When your parents sign for a vaccine that does have the very small potential side effect of making you sick, and you get sick, they can't sue the doctor, and when you grow up, neither can you. They are the ones who are allowed to have informed consent, and if anybody out there, if your argument is that it shouldn't be parents making informed consent for you when you're still a minor, That's just completely asinine, because the fact of the matter is, when you are 5 years old, you do not have the mental capacity to really think about those kind of consequences. And that's just how it is. And when you're 6 months old, you couldn't even verbalize them if you could understand them. So, what are we left with? We are left with the default that we have now, that it is the parents' prerogative. Alright? Now, listen. I'm done having this discussion with you, because while your video on YouTube was very calm, very reasonable, very collected, your discussions with me have all been filled with alarmist language and an irrational immunity to listening to arguments. So, I'm done. Fuck.